So for any of you who remember my earlier videos, you will recognize this little guy. Attic is being renovated. I just painted the stairs, and that's where my YouTube studio is. So I cannot go up there right now. So I am stuck recording in one of my old ways of recording videos. Anyways, today's video is about an article out of Montreal, and I have it here. I'm going to go through it today with you and show you how this is yet another example of Sharia compliance and is going to potentially, actually not, I'm not even going to say potentially, this will actually cause problems in our society in the future, and I'll explain why. I'll also explain, because I've seen a lot of videos now who are complaining about how YouTubers are not proposing solutions to all of this. So I will also throw in solutions at the end of this video on how to deal with this. But let's start with the article. So here goes. It's out of the Montreal Gazette, so if you want to Google it, the title is Montreal Police Removed Muslim Women's Hijab During Search, Human Rights Commission Says. And because of that, they had to pay this woman. So here we go. Let's cover the article first and then we'll go into it. The Quebec Human Rights Commission says a Montreal police officer asked Aika Esalama if she had any weapons on her, then removed her hijab and prayer robe without her permission. Claiming a Montreal police officer removed a Muslim's hijab and prayer robe without a permission, the Quebec Human Rights Commission is seeking to have the force ordered to update its search policies to better accommodate religious minorities. Whew. Okay. According to documents filed by the Commission in a case it's bringing before the Human Rights Tribunal, the police intervention, which it describes as filled with prejudices associating Arab and Muslim people to terrorism, took place in November 2014 and unfolded before several witnesses. At the time, the Muslim woman was visiting Montreal from Morocco to spend a month with her adult son. The two were on their way back from Friday prayers at a mosque in Laval when police patrollers circled their car. A Montreal police detective had called Esalama's son earlier that day to inform him an arrest warrant had been issued against him. So this guy's a criminal. Okay, the woman's son is a criminal. So he had missed a court hearing in a domestic abuse case, in which he was later acquitted. So at the time, he was considered a criminal by our legal system. More than a dozen police officers then rushed out of their cars with their guns pointed at the pair, the legal brief alleges. Frightening and panicked, Esalama exited the car and tried to run towards her son's house. Okay, I'm trying to save my commentary for the end, but I don't think I can do it. So here we go. Imagine if the police surrounds your car and you start running away. Like, what is the police supposed to do in this case? Like, right, either specifically, oh, well, sorry, she's a Muslim, so we're going to let her run away. No, look, it doesn't matter who you are. The police is going to run after you if you do that. And you're lucky if you don't get tased or something, because you're supposed to follow police orders. See, this is why we have a police force in a free society like ours. A police force is there to serve and protect, right? And they won't go after normal, good, law-abiding citizens. They're going to go after the bad guys. In a police state or in a dictatorial regime, the police will go after any citizen that the government deems to be a threat. So it doesn't matter if you're guilty or not, doesn't matter any of that. They're just going to follow the orders. But in a free society like ours, the police is there to protect the good guys from the bad guys. And this is why we don't have like full-blown like South American style anarchy in our streets where people get kidnapped and all that stuff. Yes, we have our problems. Our society is not perfect. However, we have one of the best societies, and case in point, whatever the expression is, people come here. You come here. You're all coming here to try to live here in Canada. So don't tell me that our Canadian society is terrible, because people are breaking our laws to come here illegally and then expect to stay. Anyways, back to the article. Her son was arrested and placed in a police car. Good. Esalama was then asked to get out of the car, where an officer cuffed her hands behind her back. she ran, so of course they have to cuff her. Like, what do you want the police to do? They don't know what they're dealing with. They don't know what you have on you. They have no idea what your intentions are. And until they have a magic ball in which they can predict the behavior, they will have to do these procedures in order to ensure the safety of themselves as a police officer, but all the people around them. So if they think there's something that you're hiding, they have to stop you. Okay. During the ensuing search, the commission's lawyer contend a Montreal police officer asked Essa Lama if she had any knives or weapon on her and then removed her shoes, abaya, and hijab without her permission. Look, she asked her. The woman probably said no because she didn't have any weapons on her. But the police officer can't just believe you. You know, can you imagine if we had our legal system based that way? Hey, did you do that crime? No. Okay, let him go. Do you have a gun on you? No. Oh, okay, no problem. Of course they have to search you. Even if they've asked you if you have any weapons on you, they still have to search you. They have to do a pat down. And if you have so many pieces of clothing on or layers of garments on that they can't even do the pat down, they have to ask you to remove it, or they have to remove it for you. It doesn't matter what your wishes are. This has nothing to do against prejudice against a religion. This has to do with following procedures that the police officers and the legal system has put in place in order to guarantee the safety of the public. I don't know why they're turning this into an issue of religion. It has nothing to do with religion. Look, if the woman was wearing like one of those scream masks, you know, those masks that people wear at Halloween and you cover the rest of your body in black, that's probably the closest we could come to in terms of comparing, you know, what it would be to wear an abaya and a hijab, you know, minus the face mask. But do you not think that the police would have asked them to remove that garment as well and forcefully remove it if they don't? It doesn't matter what religion you are. They are trying to enforce the law and they're trying to ensure public safety as well as their own safety. So this whole argument is bogus, and it is an attempt to fool you into believing that we have a problem here and to manipulate the police forces into now having a special set of separate rules for when they interact with Muslims. And if this grows, the Muslims will then take advantage of this in terms that they will actually put bombs underneath their abayas because they will know that they will not be searched by a police officer. How hard is this to understand? This is not complicated. We have one set of rules for everybody. And if you get intercepted by the police, especially when there's an arrest warrant actively out for you, you cannot expect to be treated specially because you're Muslim. It has nothing to do with them being Muslim. It has nothing to do with prejudice of terrorism. It has to do with the fact that they have to ensure you don't have any weapons on you. Oh, Jesus Christ. How is this hard to understand? I don't understand why this article is even about, aside for the fact that it's a brainwashing article and it's an attempt to manipulate you into slowly accepting a form of Sharia. Sharia, the Islamic law, which gives Muslims special, better treatment than non-Muslims. This is yet one more little chip in the attempt to put this on us here in our society, where we already have a society that works and people are coming here because our society works. Anyways, let's continue this article. Ooh, I got mad on that one. I don't get mad that often. Normally I smile way more during my videos, but anyways, I got pretty pissed off. Okay, the intervention taking place in the street, the neighborhood residents, some who were on their balconies watched the scene. Well, of course, when you have like 6 police cars that show up somewhere, like on my street, like 1 police car shows up and like the entire neighborhood's out there looking. So yes, that's what's gonna happen if you're a criminal and there's a warrant for your arrest because you don't show up in court. So, because of that, it's pretty long article and they go on. I don't want to read the whole thing. But they say that this woman was profoundly humiliated, and she didn't leave her son's house for the rest of her visit. And then she needed to consult a psychiatrist in Morocco. And now they're seeking damages. So the tribunal in Quebec wants the police force to not only change its procedures to accommodate religious minorities, but on top of that wants to pay the woman for doing their job. So can you imagine our future state of society where you do your job as a police officer, you follow the protocol established by the police force, and all of a sudden you're facing a lawsuit and you're ordered to pay reparations because you followed your own law process because the person happened to be Muslim. It's going to make it so that, okay, look, you can read the rest of the article. This is pretty much the gist of it, but this is going to cause many problems. Not only are we dealing with the potential abuse of the Muslim garb, as in the Muslim way they dress, in order to carry out more attacks against us, because now that they know the police will not mess with a Muslim, guess what? That's what they're going to do. They're going to start dressing up in abayas to hide bombs, to hide weapons, to hide machetes, to hide guns, whatever they want to hide under there, and carry out attacks because we won't have the balls to go after them because they're Muslim and they're wearing an abaya and they're part of some kind of a religious minority that has special rights. That's the first problem. The second problem now, can you imagine the police officers just on an individual basis, like how paranoid and how tough their job is going to be now, because they're going to show up on a scene and all of a sudden they see a woman in a hijab, especially if it's a Toronto police officer. What are they supposed to do now? Like, they're going to be confused. And instead of just engaging automatically into the protocol that they are trained to engage in when they arrive on scene, they are going to stop and think about how they're supposed to do it. And during that hesitation, this is going to cause problems because there is going to increase the amount of danger to the public, right? So while they're thinking about what to do so they don't get sued, don't lose their job, all those kinds of crazy things, they're going to try to figure out that time spent figuring it out could potentially give the criminal they're apprehending or the situation that they're showing up for enough time to carry out something bad, right? I don't understand why they're bringing this. Well, I have to stop saying I don't understand. I understand it because I understand what's going on, but I don't understand how our society is allowing this. I do not understand why a tribunal would side with a Muslim who had a criminal son who was, at the moment of the incident, actively sought out for arrest, and why that would become a minority issue, why that would become an Islamic issue. This police that was doing this was following the normal standard process that they do when they arrive on the scene of an arrest. And they had to ensure that everybody was okay. You can't let the woman, okay, assume they let the woman go into the house. Assume this woman had evil intentions. She probably didn't. But let's just assume, because she's wearing a hijab, now the police adapts their processes to say, yeah, if she's wearing a hijab, just let her go. So assume the guy, let's go into like a hypothetical scenario here. The woman would then run towards the house because she's allowed to. She doesn't have to be searched because her dignity, we can't humiliate her. She's a Muslim and they have precedence over all. Therefore, we let her run into the house. And imagine if she goes into the house and grabs a gun and come back out. This is why the police searched her and handcuffed her, because they don't know what the intentions are. They have no idea when they show up on the scene of a crime. So they neutralize any potential threat and then deal with the situation. That is what police do. And if they had let her go in, she could have done a number of things. She could have come back out with a bomb. She could have come back out with a pair of scissors and stabbed the officer. Like, God knows what she could have done. We don't know. Maybe in this case, likely she would have done nothing. But think about this situation in other scenarios where you now have perpetrators that are aware that so long as they are wearing Muslim garb, the Islamic garb, the hijab, the abaya, worse yet, the burqa, where you just see the eyes, they can get all away with all sorts of stuff. So just try to imagine that if our police force is now having to adapt it. So let's get to the solution now. And I apologize if you think I rambled. I'm trying to get everything out there, and I didn't script this video, so I'm just kind of talking off the cuff here, and tune out if you don't like this. But anyways, the solution. In this case, the police force and whoever the police constable or chief or whoever, like the hierarchy of police officers, whoever's at the top, should have completely defended the process and the actions of their officers. If you suspect that there has been a breach of protocol within the police actions, then investigate that and then come out with a conclusion. But don't go straight to agreeing with whatever a tribunal says, fight them. And I haven't seen anything where this police officer and the precinct that they were in has actually taken any steps to fight this. I even saw another article on this on the CBC where the police officer apologized. Now, don't apologize. If you are conducting the duties that you were hired to do and that you are paid by society to do, and you've done them right, and you've done them respectfully, and you have followed your process, never apologize. Do not apologize for doing your job well. This is what is keeping our streets safe, and I'm sorry that police officers don't hear this enough, but it is the truth. This is what the police officers are there to do, and this is what they're doing. So never apologize when you do your job right. And this applies to anybody who's in front of any form of Muslim bullying. There's a lot of it. There's a lot of Islamic bullying these days, and they're trying to push in Sharia elements of their society into ours and to make it so that we follow their Sharia. Resist it, and always stand by your convictions. Do not buckle under the pressure. By buckling, we are giving in, and we will lose our fight. We will lose this fight if we don't stand up for ourselves. So every small step, every tiny step that we see that there's an infringement upon our society by religious demands during police arrests, and having to understand and respect minority, and have some form of weird like sensitivity training in the police corps where I don't want my police to be sensitive. I don't want the police to be sensitive. I want the police to do their job. I want them to go out there and follow their process for doing the arrest in a peaceful way that will ensure that there is minimal damage done to the society around them and to themselves. So anyways, guys, I won't link the article because I don't have access to my computer up in the attic. So please just go Google the article if you want to find it. And I will see you all in the next one.